Hello, and I'm back with another Black Desert Online video. Today I thought we'd have a quick look at fishing. And fishing is something that I really enjoyed on the beta. It's a good source of income. You can make, I made 3 million silver, probably not a lot to some people on the beta. This was on the beta in between doing other things. Over here is where you start in the game, just for some reference here. This is Olvia town. Olvia doesn't have a fishing vendor. I don't think it has any water around it. This place is the second place you get to through leveling, which is Velia or Velia town. This place does have a fishing vendor. Now, to find vendors and particular sort of profession people, you can use the filters on the top right of this map screen to find various people of interest. You'll see here that there's a fish icon on the map. I could use the magnifying glass option in the actual normal game outside of the map to search for a fishing guy, but obviously I would have had to have discovered him first, I think, through the magnifying. You could fish down in Vela, no problem, but today I'm down in Heidel, which is the third town you come to. Bit of a bigger town this, but as you can see down there is another fishing icon. Basically, you want to go to one of these guys, and they vary in what they do. Sometimes it's a ferry master who also sells fishing rods. Sometimes it's just a fishing vendor, or sometimes it's just an NPC somewhere obscure. It varies depending on town. Here in Heidel, however, it is a ferry master who also has a shop option to buy fishing rods, and here he is. This is exactly the same location I showed you on the map with the fish icon. You see the magnifying glass next to the mini-map up there. I could easily search for this guy. So the interaction with this small gelfling dude is that you can actually launch one of your boats if you had one. So eventually when you've got a fishing boat, you can launch it here if you build it in the place where we are. Refer back to my boat building video if you're interested. But he has a shop option here where you can buy a fishing rod for a few silver. I've already got some fishing rods, so I won't be buying another one right now. Obviously, you can switch between purchasing through the money in your inventory or purchasing through your bank with those tick boxes, which is pretty cool, actually. I love that. And obviously, money has a weight. Once you're fishing, you don't want to be carrying a ton of weight around with you. So obviously, emptying your bags is a good idea before you start. As you'll see, Heidel is actually on a river, which means we're actually... as you can just see, we were able to auto-navigate to that location, the fishing icon, by right-clicking on the map and pressing T in-game. I love the auto-run feature. But as I was saying, Heidel is on the river, so obviously you're going to get freshwater fish, and obviously in the sea you're going to get saltwater fish. That's not all the limitations. Different areas of river and different areas of the ocean indeed have different types of fish, depending on the fishing location. There is a guide out there somewhere to the different types of fish available in each area, but for now we're just going to fish in this river. Now, as we come up to here, there is some things you need to know about how to actually fish. First of all, your armor slots on the equipment screen here, all of the outside ring is all armor and weapons. The inside ring is all cosmetic stuff such as purchased costumes, lingerie, etc. As you can see, this camouflage outfit. You'll see here a weapon slot, however. Fishing is unique in that the fishing rod actually replaces the weapon slot when you equip it. Unlike many of the other tools used for gathering, you'll see there's a broken weapon there down to the bottom right of the equipment screen. That's for pickaxes and stuff. But fishing rods actually replace your main weapon. So when your weapon goes into your inventory, do not delete it. It is not trash, it is actually your main weapon. With that said, this is what the basic fishing rod looks like. There are several tiers of fishing rod, all of them dependent on the skill as a prerequisite to use them. You can create fishing rods through workers at tool workshops, amongst other things, but for today we're just going to be fishing with the basic rod. So as you can see there, I'll just pull it back for a second. To actually start fishing, you just press spacebar. Now, you can actually use energy to increase the chance of you getting a better fish. And to do this, you would hold down spacebar instead of just pressing it, and we'll show you that there. I've only got a few energy, but we'll be able to show that off momentarily. So as you can see, I'm holding it down and the energy meter is filling. Again, this is not mandatory to actually catch fish. You can just press spacebar and, go with the luck of the gods. But this has actually an increased chance of you getting a better fish if you were to use the strength option and holding down spacebar. You'll see here that the abundancy level here, it's actually abundant right now. That's the highest level. It goes all the way down to exhausted. I think there are 5 tiers of fishing abundancy level. Obviously at exhausted you're not going to get anything. All that affects is basically the length of time you will be fishing before a fish is caught. There are different grades of fish. Obviously, you increase the type of fish that you are likely to get, greens and yellows, for example, which are worth more by basically fishing more and getting your skill up. You'll see a tick box at the top of the screen there that I momentarily hovered over, which indicated that auto fishing will not auto fish white items or trash items, and it will throw them back. You can tick this box to auto fish in the game. All you would do is cast like I have now and then go AFK. Once you catch a fish on a line, like you can see now, you'll see it as a fishing icon and it says space to actually start the minigame. If I left that as it was, after a certain amount of minutes, I think it's 2 to 3 minutes, basically it would automatically fish that and then recast itself. This is perfect for going AFK for long periods of time if you need to go to the shops or etc. So you will still, overnight, or even if you sleep overnight, you can fish whilst you do so. Obviously this does not repair the durability of your rod, etc. So when your rod breaks, your character will just be stood there AFK. So we're not going to be doing auto fishing for the purpose of this video. First little mini game is to press spacebar, and then you have to press spacebar when you get in the blue. Sorry, I failed that because I was talking to you guys. But basically, when you catch a fish, you have to press spacebar to actually reel it in, and then you'll see that mini game a few moments ago that I failed, where there's this bar basically moving between red and blue, red and blue. It's one of your typical mini games if you've ever played any other mini game in like Farmville or any other game ever, pretty much. And basically what you have to do is get it in the blue. If you were able to get it right at the right side of it, all the way in the blue, so the blue bar is completely covered, and time it perfectly, you would get a perfect score and catch the fish instantly. However, if you do not, and you just get it in the blue, then you have to do another minigame, which is very similar to the typing of the dead, if you've played those games, where you have a limited amount of time to type out something. So it'll be WASSDA or something, for example. Obviously, the length of those typing of the dead sequences will be dependent on the skill and the type of fish you've caught. The higher skill fish you've caught, the harder the little minigame will be, and the less time you will have to actually type it out. So familiarize yourself with your WASD and your R key, I believe it is as well. So here's another fish, what's been talking on. We're actually going to show you now, so I'm going to try and get it in the blue, and we got a good there, as you can see if I got it all the way to the right. We've got D-A-D, so we've got dad there. That was a crap bite, to be honest, and you see we've got some trash there. Now, obviously, if you want to collect that trash, you'd have to press R or just press the Take All button. Or we could just press spacebar and it would discard the item and fish again. Again, auto-fishing, if the tick box is ticked up there, will actually throw back that sort of item and only keep blues and above. I think it's greens and above, actually, like skipjack or, stuff like that, tuna, etc. All the way up to the top tier. Now, the range of fish prices to a vendor actually go wildly. Actually, you can get something that's worth 1 to 2k for a grey fish, one of basic white fish, all the way up to like 67,000 plus. Now, the number that you get for your fish at a trade manager is basically dependent on two things. First of all, the quality of the fish. The second of all, the freshness of a fish. The freshness is indicated on the tooltip of the actual fish. Fish go bad after 24 hours, so if you waited 24 hours, they would be worth nothing. Fish actually degrade, I think it's after 4 hours they degrade slightly, and that degradation lowers the cost that you can actually get for these fish at the actual vendor. Now, fish aren't sold to a typical vendor, they are sold to a trade manager. We'll have a look at that now. So trade managers in general are found in all corners of the empire, and you can find them pretty much anywhere you can think. So one in particular, I've moved over here to Luivano Island. I decided to do some ocean fishing just for reference, and I actually found the node manager for this island, but he serves as not only a node manager but also the vendor to sell fish to. So you can actually fish here and sell to him. Now if I was to just sell the fish to him straight off that I got lot here, I would only really get 30% of the normal price. As you can see, he's a trade manager, so you can actually buy stuff from him, ship it around the world as like a trade pack. We'll do an actual video on trade runs another time. But also, we want to actually invest in this island. So you see I clicked a button there that invested one of my contribution points. I'm going to invest in the fish trap as well over here. And essentially what investing contribution points does, contribution points are a redeemable point system that you get from actually completing quests for NPCs. You get contribution points, and these contribution points can be spent investing in nodes as well as other things as well, including buying houses. But you can actually invest them in the nodes on the map to link places together. Okay, these points can be redeemed at any time, so you're not permanently spending them. They're temporary for whatever you're doing, so it's a good idea to use them. You'll see there's an island over here, Epide Rune Island. Now, if I was to go over there and fish there, I would get fish, but if I was to sell it to the vendor either there or at Vela, I would only get 30% of the price because I have not invested in that node, okay? If I invest in that node, I'm going to get 130% of the cost for the fish. Another way of increasing, obviously, the price that you're going to get is by bargaining to the trade manager. Now, you can do this to any trade manager in the world. We're going to try the bargaining minigame here. It's essentially clicking the bargain minigame, using some energy, which is your other resource that generates every 3 minutes 1 point, I believe, as of beta. And you want to balance these scales by either yelling or basically being soft-spoken to the actual individual vendor. Now, as you can see, I'm probably going to fail to bargain. But when it does bargain, you'll see the bonus will be applied to that as well. Let's yell at him. Yell at him again. Fail to bargain. Okay, this time I'm feeling lucky. Let's see if we can get it so I can prove a point. Oh, there we go. Okay, bargain success. That's exactly what we wanted for the purposes of this video. So you can see here, there's a green text saying bonus applied to here. So you're going to get a bonus price as well as the price for investing in the node. This is pretty damn good. My fish, as you can see here, some are worth 20k, some are worth 2k. We have various different types of fish based on their freshness, as I said before in the video, and also the quality of the fish, green, blue, orange, for example. You can see here, you can see how much things are selling for. These graphs are impacted on depending on how many people are buying and selling to and from this vendor. So obviously, you can get a better price sometimes if this vendor has basically bought everyone's fish on the server. It's better to go to another trade manager in the world. But obviously you've got to think about transportation, so you'd need a boat to do that. You need storage in the boat, so you'd need a fishing boat. You need to take to a port. Then you need a carriage to take the large quantity of fish, because you'll need a decent amount to make it worthwhile. Then you've got the timer based on the freshness. So all of these things impact in the price, basically where you sell, how you sell, and what you're selling. And all of this is quite complex to take in initially, but for a basic guide you can buy and just sell, you can fish and then just sell your fish to that vendor. Another very neat feature that I thought I'd talk about today is actually the impact on the knowledge system. Now obviously the knowledge system, if you don't know, is like a bestiary of every single item, NPC, monster, everything in the game, and that includes fish. Now obviously there are so many fish in the game, you don't know anything about them until you've caught them, and you actually increase the amount of knowledge you know about a fish by how many times you fish it, so your knowledge increases. So there'll be a basic bit of text here, but it's really, really, really neat. You can read up on fish, where they're located. Eventually you can see what size your fish was. There it says like what's your highest catch, so you can kind of brag about what your biggest mackerel was and what your heaviest salmon was and how long something was. It's really, really cool, and all this is obviously, this impacts nothing really. But knowledge is actually shared between all of your characters. It's like a massive encyclopedia of everything in a game. It includes, as you can see now, I'm looking at the fish. It's really cool. You can read up on this, but it also includes like lore topics as well. A lot of the fish actually have text to read. Think of Dark Souls and reading items in Dark Souls. A lot of the story is told through the item descriptions, and a lot of the story in this game is actually told through the knowledge system itself if you have the time to to play it. So if you're into RP and you're into that side of the game and the storyline, it's definitely something that you'll be jumping in joy over when you get your hands on this. I'm especially happy to see that this is in fishing. A lot of games don't bother to go to the extent that Black Desert Online is going across the board with the knowledge system, and I really like it. There's another really cool feature I'd like to talk about, and that is the ranking system. So under life skills, when you press P, you'll see there's a ranking button down there on the bottom left next to where it says life, and you'll see that there's actually a ranking for everything in the game through the highest level minor, the highest level whatever. And if you get in the top 3, you actually get a number next to your name. I think you get numbers for the others as well, but I can't remember. This kind of happened whilst I was AFK, but for the shortest amount of time, I was actually rank 1 as fishing. You'll see there's a gold fish with a 1 next to it. And I quite like that, actually. It shows that if you put time into something, you're going to get something as a reward. People are going to identify you as the top fisher if you're in town, if you're into that. Personally, I mean, this wasn't a goal of me in the beta, and I'm pretty sure it was based on who was online at that particular time, and whoever's online with the highest rank at that time gets put to rank 1, etc. So I think that's how it works anyway. That's as far as I could work out, but at least I was able to show this off. The ranking system obviously gives you very little, apart from bragging rights and sort of no lifer status. On the beta, we did spend an awful amount of time on the game. We loved it, every inch of it. So what can I say? I mean, they're rewarding people for investing their time in certain areas. So if ranking systems are your bag, then there's pretty much a ranking system for everything in the game. Obviously, the game is looking very promising PvE-wise, but you have to find and do this stuff yourself. It's not as structured linearity like in World of Warcraft, for example. The world is very much alive. You just have to reach out and take a part in it. You can't just sit in a town and queue for dungeons and stuff. There are no dungeons in this game. You have to go out, make friends, make enemies, perform PvP actions, and then invest your time into this really cool micromanagement system. The knowledge system allows you to really learn about the world you're living in, and honestly, that's what it comes down to. Your player is more of taking a back seat to the world this time. A lot like in a lot of single-player games, but you have the added bonus of, being in a massively multiplayer environment, interacting with so many different players on very large servers. There's only going to be 2 for EU and 2 for NA currently. That's great. I mean, a lot of people wanted a mega server, but this is the closest thing we're going to get to that. Obviously, they've based that on how many people have interest in the game, and it might change in the future. But for now, I'm very much enjoying the fishing system, and pretty much every system in the game. There isn't something that I don't like yet. I'm yet to find it. I'm sure there'll be something, and I'm sure we'll make a video of it when we do. But thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been, if nothing else, slightly insightful, and maybe you'll pick up a rod today once the game is launched on March the 3rd, for those who haven't pre-ordered, and give it a go. So my name has been Meoni. Once again, thanks for watching my video, and I will see you next time.